Hello, and welcome back to another episode. I am Mary Drapshow, and we are here today to talk about beach reads for the summer. And I think that beach reads is a very, very wide term. We can read anything we want to at the beach because it's summer. And where I come from, summer at the beach means you pack everybody in the car and you drive to New Jersey because that's where I go for the summer. And you get to the beach and you go to the bookstore. And at the bookstore, which is usually this little hole in the wall paperback place, there are all of these used paperbacks. And so beach reads where I am from doesn't necessarily mean the newest book that's out on the market. And so I have compiled a list of books for you to peruse over the summer so that when you get to that little bookstore and you see that paperback book and you go, did you read the Three Junes? Did you hear if this was any good or not? Yeah, pick it up and read it. The Three Junes is a book by Julia Glass, and I just read it a couple of months ago. It's a book about, it's a book about a lot of things, but it's a book about a young man in Scotland, and he moves to the United States, and it's about his mother, who is a dog trainer extraordinaire, and her death, and their home that was left behind, and their father. And this is probably one of the best books I've ever read, and I'd like to show you that this is a National Book Award winner, which really means nothing because sometimes that's not the best book in the entire world, but in this case, The Three Junes was a really, really good book. Of course, there are those of us who like to go to the beach and read hot, steamy bodice rippers, and so in that case, we have the 50 Shades of Grey series, which started out with 50 Shades of Grey and then 50 Shades Darker, and now the third, 50 Shades Freed. And truly, this is something that you can read and pick up and put down at the beach. And you know, really, if you don't even get back to the place that you were at, you'll probably pick up on what's going on, because there are only so many ways his pants can hang off his hips in that sexy, sexy fashion. So E.L. James, suburban housewife who puts all of her thoughts together in the 50 Shades trilogy. This is truly, truly a beach read. Now, one of the funny little sidebars to the 50 Shades trilogy is this next book, which is an unbelievably wonderful book called Between Shades of Grey. And the author, whose name is Ruta Septis, is from Latvia. And many people don't know of Latvia. And during the Second World War, when the Russians took over Latvia, Lithuania, they put people in camps, not unlike the Germans did. And this is the story of a group of people, a family, but their journey from Latvia all the way up by the Arctic Circle. And it's a harrowing story, and the author was on NPR one day, and I was listening to her, and I had just recently acquired this book, and she was laughing and saying how funny it was that many people at Amazon are accidentally buying her book because they thought that it was part of the Shades of Grey, or the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. So I immediately came home and read it and could not put it down, because it really is a really, really good book about sort of the horrors of the Russians and the Latvians and what they did to them, the Latvians, the Lithuanians. Right after the end, actually it was in 1941, and during that horrible time in European history. So that's also a good one. And anybody who goes to that used bookstore is going to find an Anita Shreve book. And Anita Shreve is just one of those. Anita Shreve is really synonymous with beach read because, you know, just look at this book. It's shouting. It's saying, take me to the beach. And this one is testimony. She has written so many books, though. And I think the first book of Anita Shreve's that I ever read was The Pilot's Wife. And that was a very, very good book, and it's something, again, you can watch your kid in the sand, and you can read this book, and you can look up and look down, and if you lose your place a little bit, you're not going to miss too much. So I highly recommend Anita Shreve. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about World War II. And this book, Unbroken, by Laura Hillenbrand. Now, we all know that Laura Hillenbrand brought us, that's right, Seabiscuit. And she is absolutely wonderful as an author. And we also know that she's disabled. She writes everything from her bed and can't get out of bed because she has a crippling disease. Laura Hillenbrand wrote this book, Unbroken. And it is a story of a man named Louis Zamperini, who coincidentally is from Olean, New York, which is near where I grew up. And Louis Zamperini is, he is taken prisoner in a Japanese war camp. And so this is a true story. It's a biography, and there are two more biographies that I want to talk about. One is Boyd, about the fighter pilot who invented the OODA loop, and that is still used today in air warfare by the U.S. Air Force. And Boyd, of course, maybe you do know or don't know, graduated from Strong Vincent High School, along with recently inducted into the Erie International Airport's Hall of Fame, Robert Fry, who was a pilot during World War II, and he was one of the men who was in the book entitled Hellhawks, and that's at the public library. It's a very good book. They're both very good books. All three of them are good books. About World War II and men who fought in World War II. And again, as I said, Fry was a graduate of Strong Vincent High School, and on July 3rd was inducted into the Erie International Airport's Hall of Fame. So those books are really worth reading if you have any sort of inclination toward World War II and war history and The Greatest Generation. But moving right along to one of probably the not great generations, we go to Chelsea Handler and Are You There Vodka, It's Me, Chelsea. And we love Chelsea because she makes us laugh. Like you can laugh just like looking at the cover of the book. And Chelsea Handler is a very, very funny young woman, and she of course is spoofing the title of the young adult novel, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. And just one of those fun beach books that you can, again, pick up, put down, not unlike a Jennifer Weiner book, and quickly get back to for our summer beach reading. Now, of course, what book club? Oh, I've got two. This one, Saving Cece Honeycutt, is a very, very funny girl. Very, very funny, but yet not so funny book about a young girl, Cece Honeycutt, who is kind of in charge of her mother. Her mother is crazy, and her mother is a former beauty queen of some sort. And at the beginning of the novel, her mother is hit by a car and killed because she is mentally ill. And Cece is taken to live with her great aunt Tootie, who in their young life would want to go live with an aged, old woman. And Cece goes, and it's in the deep South, and this came out around the time of the help, but it is not about the help. It's about the women who employed the help, and these wealthy women who all live around Cece's great aunt Tootie, and kind of the funny little escapades that they get into. Again, this is a beach read. This isn't some sort of serious novel that we're going to do some sort of dissertation on. And of course, again, my last book that I'm going to talk about today is Damn You Autocorrect, because with the age of cell phones and texting, we have autocorrect. And this is the story. This is a collection of some of the awesomely embarrassing text messages you didn't mean to send. And I must tell you that if you take this book to the beach and read it, you either need to sit away from people or be surrounded by your friends, because you will be laughing so hard when you are reading this book that people will stop and stare at you. I actually had to put it down. I was laughing so hard that my stomach hurt, and I knew I was never going to get to bed that night. This is quite possibly one of the funniest books I have ever read, and it's all just excerpts from text messages that autocorrect has incorrectly corrected the spelling on. So those are the few beach reads that I chose to talk about today. And again, like I said, oh, you know what, there's another one. Saving, he says no. I want to do it though. I'm going to talk about it. I am going off the board, people, and I'm going to talk about this book. It's called Little Bee, and I want you to get that book. It's by Chris Cleave, and his first book, novel, movie was Incendiary, very good, never made it to the big screen. Saving Little Bee, or excuse me, Little Bee by Chris Cleave. It's one of the best books that you will ever read, and again, you're going to find it in the stack, and you're going to go, yeah, I remember hearing about this book. Was it any good? Yes, it was. Pick it up. It's got an unbelievably vivid cover with an orange background and a black silhouette on the front there, and you should pick that one up and read it if you read nothing this summer. So there are really so many books that I want to talk about, but you know what? I'm getting this. So I will end it. I'm going to say my name again, Mary Drapshow. We're here in the garden. It's summer, and really, even if you're picking up a magazine when you're at the beach, you're reading, and you're feeding your brain, and you're not going to get Alzheimer's. So happy reading, people.